Hello, this is Max Drake. I want to talk about auto hotkeys and the issue I have with too many hotkeys and how to manage that. One of the things that I ended up doing is, you know, it's nice to do the hotkeys and it's nice to have the ones you want, but you want to experiment, try a lot of other things. And suddenly you're getting clashes and all sorts of things happening. So the first logic that I actually had to do, or the first thing that I did, was I tried doing this. I did a ctrl+alt inside my auto hotkey script, the ones that I've actually got standard, which loads at the beginning, so that I can actually get a list of hotkeys through there, so that I knew what I was clashing with and what other issues are coming through. So the way that that was done was basically, it was how to is I had a string which is equal to, or sorry, a variable which is equal to a string of text all the way through there. And then I just called a MsgBox with that information through there, so I could actually just structure all the information that I wanted to go through and do that. The thing is, as I went through, you know, you're playing with other programs and things, you'd have to go back into that one, reset up and add some other ones through there and everything. It just got a bit messy. So then I thought about how I was using hotkeys. Now, I'd actually had the ones that I decided I'd just be firing off and using those all the time. Then I had ones that I was playing, or ones that I was interested in, and I wondered whether there was enough use for them, and I wanted to try them out a few times to actually test them out. So the next effort that I actually did was I ended up doing this Popup GUI through here that had a whole lot of scripts, and all there is just a bit of script through there. And this one here, number 2, if I just use it, it cycles through all of the Explorer. I saw that on a video and I thought, oh, that's quite a cool idea. I'd try it out, see if it works for me, and if it doesn't, then I wouldn't be bothered. The ones that really got me sort of interested a bit was, if I, whoops, we just moved that off to the side again. And I also got it to pop up so that it's below, but up towards the side here. And so I got things like 3, so I can actually put the day's day in, or I can put 4, which is just a date time. And if I just come back to that one, 5, oh sorry, 5, which is date time. I'll do it there. Oh, I didn't do that. F1, 5. Doesn't seem to be wanting to do that. Anyway, there might be a few bugged ones. I've sort of moved on from that one, so not an issue. And then there were the things like making buttons for HTML things and stuff like that. The thing is, this had little buttons, and then it had tooltips on there as well, so that you could see what was happening. But I ended up with a dilemma. If I'm in here and I want to press date long format, if I go and press the button in there, because I'm in there, I can't do it. So therefore it's cancelling out. So that's where I had to actually give them, assign numbers to them, so that I can do number 3 into, when I'm in there, I can now do that. It'll then write that information into there like that. One of the issues there is if I'm going to type on the keyboard here 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, you see that it goes 2 3 4 because the 1 was already assigned to the first button in there, and it's just hid the GUI. If I type from here 2 3 4, it doesn't do that. First thing it does is it pops out and starts doing the cycling. So it's actually the first call, because this button is on top, or this GUI is on top, is it's going and working on the GUI, then it's coming back and doing something. So that was an issue where I ended up having to rewrite the script so that as soon as I hid the script, I can now do 1 2 3 4 and all of them work quite fine. So I actually ended up writing the script that just suddenly said, if it wasn't on top, then you can then reassign then you don't need the assigned keys as such, and it can run through there. So that was something which I did, and it sort of worked up to a point, and then I came across this one here, which is AHKCommandPicker. And what I actually do is that I just go onto GitHub, and I actually just do a search on AutoHotkey tools or something like that and see what happens up. And this thing came up, and I was really impressed with it. And he's got a couple of videos on how to use it through here. And I just like to just go through and walk through some of the things. To start it off, you hit caps locks. and straight away you just come into a search bar. So I'm just going to go RE, and then when I type 3, there's 3 commands there that have re in it. There's the recycle bin, PC reset, and reload auto hotkey script. So auto hotkeys, restart. Now I'm going to take that out because I don't want to restart the computer from here, thank you very much. But the reload hotkey script is really brilliant because when you're just doing some things, you can just quickly boot it. Now to get that out of the way, like you suddenly decide you didn't actually want to run any of those, you can just hit the escape key and it just clears. So if I hit tab locks, come straight back again. You know, the first one I have there, I was just trying to look at different ways to organize the thing. So I put the one in front, and this opens the 20 odd tabs that I use sometimes. Or I can actually do a DF, which is something to do date file. Now this one here, although I haven't got a button on here, if I come into a text box there and I just go down, if I just do oh, actually, no, that's gone back to there. If I run that command through there, you'll see it actually works, and it comes up with a bit of a tooltip through there. Now, one of the things when you're using this particular one, you actually have to, whereas you'd have a hotkey before, you actually have to give it a name and give it and make it a function. So that was one of the things. So if we just go in and actually look at that AutoCommandPicker, that's the one that you actually have. But it's got an interesting thing called command scripts to include. So what you can do is you can, and inside there's a subdirectory from where the auto hotkey command picker, there's a subdirectory with all of these ones, default commands, utility functions, default commands, my commands, all of those. So what you can actually do is that you can come into the my commands one, you know, that first one which was cycling through to the Explorer cycle going through there, you've got to make it command. So you give it a name and then you put the double, the open close brackets, and then you have curly brackets through the actual script itself. Then above you add the command Explorer cycle through Explorer starts on the latest. It doesn't quite work ideally through here because if we go to cap locks, what was that called? Explorer command XP, and if I now hit enter, it only cycles once. So I've actually got to start it off again and then redo it again. And as it is, I've got to type 3 keys before I get to the one that I actually want. So not that effective for what I actually need, but at least that command's still there that I can actually use it, play with it, see if it's actually working and doing what I need it to. And if it is, then I'll be able to change it. So that's one of the processes that I suddenly thought was quite good. Now, the other thing that's really gorgeous about it is 2 things. One, if we actually just go into default hotkeys, you can actually have hotkeys in there already. So you can actually assign hotkeys as well, so it still works with your hotkeys or your hotkey stuff. So I don't need to load up a separate hotkey file. I can actually just load up the this one here, the AutoCommandPicker, or the hotkey command picker, and it'll load up my hotkeys as well. Plus I can update those. The other nice thing with this one inside the include is that I can actually have hotkeys for my personal use and maybe have a whole load of hotkeys for office use as well. So I can actually have a whole load of different scripts and stuff in here, and it will just pull those ones up and add those ones down to the list as long as they're in the function format. So this is something that I've only just come to do. I've set up a couple of things in it, and this is looking as if it's a really handy tool for me. So the nice thing with this is that I've got tooltips. I've got a whole lot of functions that I can actually have in there and test out and do a whole lot of things. They're sitting on the side. If I find I have ones which are absolutely useful I'll just add them into the main auto hotkey, my hotkey scripts, and I'll assign a hotkey script to that and just run it from that. And the other ones that I don't, I just keep them there as handy things to do. And ones that I suddenly don't, I'd never use them at all, I'll pull them out. And my date ones, I might like a long date, or I might like the date time or something, and then I just assign the ones that I want, and I'll push the other ones away for the more usable things that I want to use through there. So this is a really brilliant tool. And I really appreciate Daniel Schroeder actually sharing it around. And I think his page for all of the information is really good, and a lot of the stuff that he's done. So thank you very much for sharing with that. The next thing I want to talk about is I watch Civ Reborn, which is Hellbent. I don't know which one he got names and stuff. He does really good auto hotkey tutorials, and he does stuff, and he also posts a lot of his information. So when he's done a script or something like that, he posts it. Now he does this stopwatch, and I was blown away with the stopwatch, and I went hunting for it. So I just really want to tag that. Love his codes, love following the way that he does things, and this is really appreciated. I do find this quite handy, because as you're doing a video, you want to know how much time you're doing it. This other one blows me away. Now, this is one that somebody, this Clint Gilsey, is doing basically producing on your PC, and he's just talking about auto hotkeys. So he starts off with an intro, and he talks about some things, but one of the ones that he talks about later on is one called Tap Hold Manager. This blew me away, and I've only just found out this morning, but I wanted to do this video on this because I'm going to go on to another project, so I'm going to have to drop this for a while, and I want to kind of be in a state that when I come back I'm sort of semi up to speed, so I want to do this on mine. Now this, he wrote a little script which is in one of the folders here, which we can actually download. I'll just go back from here. He's got a link to this drive where he's got some things. If I just go up I wonder if I can get back up to one before. I don't know whether I can. So he's got, no, I don't seem to be able to. Maybe if I just refresh, might not do it. He's written a script that's based on, so it isn't, I haven't quite got the other one. I might have to go back. So he links in, blast, I can't quite get to where I need to do, but he's got this one called Notepad THM examples. That one, when you actually do, you've got a whole load of other exercises. He gives all of his exercises, and you can link through there. Oh, here we are. So we're at the top through here. So if I actually just do it's something or other. He's got a whole lot of stuff through here. He talks about the interceptor stuff. And this one, the Tap Hold Manager and the Hot Interceptor, is done by Evil C, this Clive Galway. He's done a couple of things. He's done the text-to-speech class that I use for my barcode scanner for plant height. Really works fantastic. I just want to acknowledge what this guy's done. I've tried the hot voice, haven't been able to get that word, which is a bit of a shame. But what I want to point out is I actually just want to demonstrate this script for this. So what you've actually got to do is you've got to go into this one here. You've got to include the Tap Hold Manager through here. So this is the demonstration that he's done that absolutely excites me here. So his one was mapping it to the control key, and I just wanted to map it to something else. So here I'm tapping the number 1 key once. Oops, sorry, I've got to run the script. So let's just go back into there, and we'll run that script there. And this, I've just said, this is the one, the function key through here. So if I just come into Notepad thing, just come down a bit and I type in 1, just said hello. If I do a double tap, my name is Richard. If I do a triple tap, what is your name? If I do a hold, I get this. And if I do a tap hold, I get a 5th one. So this absolutely blew me away. From 1 key, I can get 5 different things happening on the same thing. So on this script, it says, if you do it this one, send this. If not, send this. If not, send this. If not, send this. And if not, send this. So depending on the way that you tap, you can get 1 key or possibly a couple of keys happening together, doing a whole lot of different things. So I'm really, really excited by this, because I can see something like you actually have a signature at the end of an email. So if you do a single tap, it's just "G'day," and then you can actually have 2, a big kind regards, blah, 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 and maybe a telephone number, and then 3 taps, and you just get the full signature blown all the way through. So you only have to remember 1 key rather than a whole lot. So obviously you've got to make sure that you're doing it on something that not being mapped, so maybe your function keys or something if you don't use them. And I can also see this in doing some design work and things where you suddenly got a whole lot of things happening there. So that's got me really excited. I've only just found out about this, so suddenly I've got to stop playing with it, which is a bit of a peever. The last one that is also, it's dead simple, but it's been so versatile for me, and this one here is this one here, which is just record time. So basically I can actually just put a project number on there, and I can put a description onto here. Sorry, I've gone into the wrong one through there because I did that. And I can assign some hours to it, something like that, on that particular day. Now, this I find has just been such a handy little call. It gives you a bit of toast down the bottom, and it goes and writes it to a text file. Now, this is by this gentleman here, Joy, and this is the record time here. Now, this one I ended up adapting that pop-up box so that I'd use a barcode scanner and it would feed into each of the individual boxes, and then I used Evil C's class script for text-to-speech, and it would speak out what was actually being put into those boxes. Now, what that has given me is some clean data. Every time I scan something in, I know it's in a proper structure. If I scan something in badly, I can actually just know, because when I hear what's actually been gone through and it's not right, that something's been badly, I've chosen the wrong height or something for the plant. The next row I can actually just type in 111 or bad or something like that. So I know that the line above is corrupted or it isn't right, so I can actually delete it later on. Now, but the rest of the data and the data structure is written correctly, and it's written in the right columns all the way across. Now, I'm suddenly thinking that another one that I want to use for data collecting like that is one for homebrew. So I do some homebrew, and I'm suddenly saying, okay, then what brews did I use for all of this and that and the other? What was the OG original gravity, and what was the final gravity of the thing, so I can work out the alcoholic content of the thing? How long was I actually brewing it for, etc., etc., etc. So I can do a whole lot of exercises on that, and that's a lot of clean data. So once I've got that data in there from the barcode and everything like that, I can then start doing some analytics. Now, if I've got dirty data, I'm hoping to use AutoHotkey to actually go through, find the rows where there's the 111 and just delete the row above it and that row as well, so that I can start automating the process of cleaning that data so that I can then process it into the next part. So either push it into an Excel file, so a pen thing, push it into a Google strip, put it into a database, into an SQL database or something like that, and then start doing some other analytics and things. And I don't know if I can do, but you know, there's a sort of a post-processing with this that I can actually do. Now, two of those, you know, so all of these things I'm finding really useful. So I really appreciate the stuff, and I think they're really good programs, all of these. I think the timer is good. I went looking for a whole load of different timers. Couldn't find any as good as this one, so I think it's a very elegant little one, and I like it's using the color on his ones. A lot of the other ones end up being a bit dull like this, and I could spend time doing more, but this was more, I'm doing a lot of proof of concept at this point in time, so it's nice to actually see people who've built some really nice things and they've shared them. So thank you very much, all of the people who are there. The video, I put a lot of links in for all of those videos, for all of these things that have come through here. If you found the video useful, please give a thumbs up. If not, hop pan your ha. But thank you very much for watching.